Please welcome the award-winning travel blogger, Regitse Cecillie Rosenvinge.
Labas, everyone. Hi, everyone. It's good to see you all here. I'm so happy to see so many faces today. Let me get this going here. Yes. My name is Regitse Rosenvinge. I am 29 years old. And 5 years ago, I began my journey venturing into freelancing. 2 years ago, I decided to do it full-time. And I mainly work with blogging, journalism, social media consulting, and writing in general. I'm also the founder of 2 companies. One of them is the Copenhagen Traveler, which is an award-winning travel blog and production company. The second one being the reason for me here today. I'm a speaker and motivational consultant for freelancers. Before I begin talking today, I would really like to know how many of you are already working freelancing. Could you please raise your hand so I know more or less who is... Some of you? Yeah? Okay, great. Okay, so let's start. My road into freelancing was not like most people's road into freelancing. It was actually quite the opposite, quite exceptional and quite rocky. But one of the questions I receive the most from people I meet around the world is, how did you get started with freelancing? Why did you choose this path? Because it's not the easiest path, but I will get back to that. First, let me go back in history a little bit, because I come from a family of entrepreneurs. This is my great-grandfather, who started our family business back in the 19th century. My great-grandfather is this guy, and this is my grandfather. He later ventured into the business, and then my father, and later my brother, all came into the family business in their own approach. So I always had the support from my family when I had to choose what do I want to do when I grow up. They always told me since I was a little girl, you can be anything you want. And for me, that was a great motivation. That was a great support I had from home, also when I had to decide that I wanted to be a freelancer. Still, all through my 20s, I went in and out of one education to another, from one university to another, because I wanted to make everyone else happy. I just thought that it was the best thing to do what everyone else around me was doing, and I never really asked myself the question, what is it that you want to do? What is it that makes you happy? What is your dream? Until one day in 2015, when I decided that I wanted to be my own boss for the rest of my life, and so I went for it. I began working from home, then I moved on to cafes and coffee shops. Then I began working from abroad. You see this photo in the right corner here is me on an assignment in the Moroccan desert. That's quite an unusual working space. Nevertheless, it was quite a fun task to do. And today, I'm working in a wonderful co-working space in Berlin, where I also live. I've come a very long way since the beginning, and since me started scribbling from my desk in my old flat in 2010. And I know now today that this is the best thing I've ever done for myself. But it doesn't come without sacrifice. Being a freelancer doesn't come without sacrifices. And that is hard work and often sleepless nights. There are both advantages and disadvantages of freelancing, as you might know. It is estimated that 55 million Americans, that is 35% of the workforce in the US, they have freelancing careers. That is a lot. And that really shows us the popularity of freelancing today, that people really want to be able to choose themselves. One of the advantages is like you can get started quickly. If you got a skill, it's only a matter of finding your client and then go. You don't need a fixed office. You don't need a big startup capital to get going. Just find your client and go. Freelancers, yes, there's a lot of them all over the world, but they will always be in high demand, especially if they deliver quality content. If they're authentic, there will always be demand for freelancers. You can choose your own work schedule, grant you a lot of flexibility and freedom, which I love. And you can work from anywhere in the world at most times. This obviously depends on your niche or your market. Last but not least, you can pick and choose your own clients, Maybe not so much in the beginning, but certainly after a year or two, you have the freedom to actually choose who you want to work with, and that's a great value as well. But there are also, obviously, disadvantages of being a freelancer. First of all, it takes time to build a steady clientele, and if you don't have the patience, I'm not so patient myself, and I know that if you don't have the patience, it can be really, really difficult to start up, because it usually takes 12 to 24 months to build a steady clientele that stays true to you and that you can trust and that comes back to you for your services again and again. There's a lot of irregular work, and the working times are horrible sometimes. Sometimes you are not able to sleep at night because you literally lie awake and think, how can I pay my next bill, or how can I pay my next rent? 3 months later, you have so much work that you cannot sleep again because you're wondering, how can I manage all these clients at one time? So it's really irregular work, and you have to be able to kind of grasp that and manage several clients at the time. As I said, it can be a challenge to manage several clients at the time because you want to deliver your best for every single client. There is usually a low pay to begin with as a freelancer, especially if you're inexperienced, or newly educated. This changes with time, but in the beginning, as a new freelancer, the payment is not very good. So I guess many of you are wondering how you get started as a freelancer. I know I did. I was wondering, this sounds like a dream. How can I venture into it and just get started and having success with it? Well, first of all, you obviously have to pick a niche or a market. You can be a freelancer today in almost any field. The most normal ones to be a freelancer in is writing, photography, graphic design, website building, social media consulting. You can pick anything as long as you're really, really good at it. Don't do it to earn money, just to be your own boss, because if you're not good at it, and if you don't enjoy it in the long run, it will always come back to you. It will always shine through. You have to find your unique selling propositions, of course, from the beginning as well. Why do people need your services? You have to identify your clients from an early point on, so it's easier to get them from the start. Building an online portfolio is also very important. You can do that through LinkedIn, through a website, of course. A blog is always a good idea. But no matter what you do, make sure that you're easy to find on Google and that you have a website which is easy to navigate for your clients. Setting your prices from the beginning is also a good idea. This obviously depends on your skill level, on your experience, and also on your niche or your market. But you have to be careful not to set your prices too low or too high. I recommend researching what your competitors, or your colleagues, if you prefer to call it that, what they're charging, and then adjust accordingly. Last but not least, reach out in your inner network first. Do the easy work first and then go broader. Social media is really, really a great tool for you to spread the word about yourself and your services. But word of mouth is always the best recommendation. And that brings me to motivation, which is one of my own favorite subjects myself, because you can get started as a freelancer, but it's also very easy to burn out. You have to know when to say stop. There's a lot of work, and sometimes it really comes as a surprise, but you must respect your body and your health, because no one can work 24 hours a day. Healthy competition is great. When I say healthy competition, I don't mean that you have to compare yourself to everyone else, but you have to know what your competitors are doing, and then you have to know what you're capable of doing and delivering the best every single time. That you want to be the best within your field. There's a lot of social media consultants out there, but if you do the best you can, your work will always be sought for. Mindfulness and meditation is another great tool that I've used a lot since I began my freelancing career. And it's actually easier than it sounds. You can take 10 minutes in the morning. You can take 10, 15 minutes during the day as a break. You can take 10 minutes before going to bed at night. But this really helps clearing your head and staying focused, and that's very important. So after a while, maybe after a month or 2 months, you'll see the benefits of this is really helpful. And also, of course, choose your workspace carefully. Whatever you do, get out of your bedroom. Like literally. I stayed for the first 6 months as a freelancer in my bedroom because my desk was there. And I almost burned out after 6 months. I was so tired of it because it is so uninspiring to look at your messy bed or your boyfriend's dirty clothes while you work. It's really not working. So you have to get out and find a co-working space somewhere which is affordable. They are everywhere today, so it's easy to find. And last but not least, remind yourself on a regular basis about the perks of being a freelancer, because it's really an amazing life if you do it right. You get more flexibility, you get more freedom than you ever imagined, you get the chance to be your own boss, but it should always be fun and it should always be worth it. It's also okay to try it out, and after 6 months you say, this is not for me, then you pull the plug. When being a freelancer, or an entrepreneur, self-employed, the most important thing in getting things done I can think of is time management. There are certain tools that can help you manage your time and work very efficiently every day. One of them is called the Pomodoro Technique. I use this myself. This is very valuable. And this is really the secret to any successful freelancer. This is time management. The Pomodoro Technique was developed back in the 1980s, but it's still as efficient today as it was 30 years ago. And today, it's actually the most productive methods for freelancers. It's super simple, as you can see. You just choose a specific task to complete. It can be writing on your website, making Facebook for a client, whatever. You set a timer for 25 minutes. You work super hard on that task until the time is up, no cheating. Then you take a 5-minute break, repeat it 3 more times, take half an hour break maximum, and you move on to the next task. And you could do this for an entire afternoon, for an entire evening, whatever you want, but you will quickly realize that this is the most efficient way to get stuff done. And you can track it too, which is really smart. My advice is, well, being a freelancer for 5 years, I have obviously made my own experiences, both good and bad. And of course, every freelancer is different. But I can't stress how important it is to join a co-working space to meet others and seek inspiration. I'm sure you also have co-working spaces here in Vilnius, quite nice ones. It's super important to meet other people in your own situation to stay motivated. Also, attend as many networking events, seminars, conferences, workshops in your field as possible. Be efficient with your time. The most successful entrepreneurs in the world, they plan their entire day, every day from morning till evening. Write it down every night before you go to bed, plan your day ahead. And of course, only deliver quality work, as I said before. Even if you're stressed or you're tired, and that will happen, only deliver quality work because you only have one reputation, and that's very important. This brings me to the end of my talk today. If you want the slideshow, please feel free to send an email to this email address and I will send it to you. If you have any other questions about freelancing or motivation or how to get started, feel free to talk to me afterwards. I'll be here. Thank you so much for listening.